Thoughts come and go. When thoughts arise, we think that a mind thinks them. This mind is an illusory conceptual construct arising from thoughts. Lines of thoughts give rise to concepts or stories about what is going on in every situation. Some of these stories are beneficial to our well-being and some are detrimental. These stories affect us when our mind believes in them. For example, when a bully verbally abuses you, he will use intimidating words to try to scare you. Those words form a story that, if your mind believes in it, you will feel scared and intimidated. However, if your mind has more understanding into the situation, such as knowing for a fact that the bully is bullying you because he is living in fear himself and he is unable to care for his own mental well-being, then your mind has a more palatable story to believe in and you do not fear the bully but instead have a sense of self-confidence. Certain people, when they mingle and socialize, have their reservations about telling the truth because they fear that the other parties may not like to hear it. When the other parties hear what is being said, they can sense that it is not the whole truth. They can sense the lies. When people interact in this way, they form psychological contracts amongst themselves that these things are a problem, and that they cannot even be mentioned. When the mind is being told this story, it is being taught to fear the issues involved. The very notion that you can't even talk about it places fear in a person's mind. The mind must think that the problem is impossible to solve since you can't even mention or think about it. This places brick walls in your neural pathways and gives you headaches. When people spend much time with others in this setting, they gain fear and anxiety and lose their self-confidence. Being among people becomes painfully stressful. Some people will lie to cover up their anxiety when amongst friends by changing the topic and gossip about others instead. When these groups of people encounter others who tell the truth that they find unpalatable, the group coerces the individual into silence. By doing so, they may escape having to face the issue for the time being, but they are actually reinforcing the psychological contract within the group that such matters are a big problem, thus enhancing their level of fear and anxiety. But they will blame the resulting bad feelings on the person who told the truth. The reason for this behavior is that people seldom watch and observe their own behavior. Perhaps out of pride, as they do not want to admit there is anything wrong with them, or perhaps out of ignorance, as they do not even know how to judge their own behavior. As they are ignorantly looking at others for clues on what is right or wrong. Or perhaps out of fear, as they have to act and behave according to the group's psychological contract. If they do not behave accordingly, they will be rejected and punished by the group. Most people fear they cannot survive alone. So they dare not offend others in their lives for the fear of being rejected when they need help. This is also another example of how the mind is being trained into having fear and anxiety when dealing with others. This instills a sense of inferiority in these individuals. Sometimes people with high levels of inferiority tend to bully others because by expressing intimidating behaviors, they create the illusion that they are strong. Calm and understanding people do not need to intimidate others. Fear cannot be eliminated as long as we identify with this human body because this human body eventually dies. We will only not fear if we identify with God or consciousness that does not die or get hurt.